The crime branch has arrested main accused in the CBSE paper scam. Vicky, who is the owner of the Vidya Coaching Center in Rajendra Nagar, was arrested earlier today. He, in fact, is the teacher of mathematics and economics and is suspected to have been the main culprit. Students, however, are extremely angry and agitated. They are holding a protest at Jantar Mantar in Delhi and are questioning as to why they have to suffer and be punished for the fault of government and the CBSE. The crime branch is also pursuing the lead that a group of students could have leaked the paper on the social media app and that they were aware about the leak of maths paper even before the exam had taken place. Sources also indicate initial investigation reveals that a few students who were weak in studies managed to get in touch with an insider who had access to the class 10, class 12 question papers.
We want justice! We want justice! We want justice! CBSE high high! CBSE high high! CBSE high high!
So while the mastermind may be in custody, his brother has spoken exclusively to India Today and he claims that Vicky is innocent.
मुझे पता नहीं नाम कहां से आया, कैसे आया, मैं कुछ नहीं जानता. बहुत सिंपल हमारे पास आए विक्की भैया कौन है, विक्की भैया आए, विक्की भैया को लेके चले गए. कुछ नहीं था, पेपर एक मोबाइल पे था. सर पढ़वा दीजिए, अच्छा पढ़वा दिया. सिंपल आया, लेके चले गए. कॉपरेट किया उन्होंने, हमें 2-3 घंटे खड़े रहे और कॉपरेट करके लेके चले गए. बस नॉर्मल इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुई, पूछा. 26 आवर के बाद हमें रिलीज किए. 8-2 अरे वो लेके गए थे और 8-2 हमें छोड़ दिया और उसके बाद उन्हें सिंपल बोला आप कॉपरेट, जब हमें आपको बुलाएंगे आपको कॉपरेट करना पड़ेगा. मैंने ठीक है सर, हम कॉपरेट कर देंगे. बस अरे उनको छोड़ दिया. आप मुझे बताइए, अगर हमें किसी इंसान को 30 साल में एक रेपुटेशन क्लियर करता है और उसको कोई क्राइम ब्रांच या पुलिस, नॉर्मल भी, आप नॉर्मल आदमी, आपको पुलिस बोलती है चल भाई मेरे साथ चलिए, और आप कहते हैं कि मुझे अब थोड़ा आराम करना है, उसकी रेपुटेशन की बात है, उसको आराम करना है, वो नॉर्मल लाइफ जी रहा है. मतलब ये रोड के ऊपर लेके थोड़ी वो घूमता रहेगा कि हाँ मुझे आप लेके गए इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए. वो नॉर्मल लाइफ जी रहा है.
उन्होंने हमारे लिए हवन भी कराया था सेंटर में. हाँ, हर साल 10th और 12th के लिए बोर्ड के एग्जाम, और आप रिजल्ट वाले दिन हमें पैदल वो बंगला साहिब भी लेके जाते हैं. पैदल यात्रा गंगा पर नंगे पैर.
एक बात याद है विक्की भैया की, उन्होंने मुझे कहा था सक्सेस का कोई शॉर्टकट नहीं होता, और उनके अकॉर्डिंग अगर ऐसा उन्होंने कहा है ना तो ये ऐसा गंदा काम नहीं कर सकते.
पेरेंट्स का इंटरव्यू लो. अब पेरेंट्स का जो इंसान बच्चों की फीस तक नहीं लेता था, वो कैसे करेगा ये चीजें? नहीं कर रहा वो, ये सब गलत है, बहुत गलत है उस बच्चे के ऊपर. वो इतना धर्मात्मा लड़का है, हमारा राजेंद्र नगर जानता है उस बच्चे को. इतना सा बच्चा था हमारे सामने पैदा हुआ है वो बच्चा. मत करो,
कोड तक खराब कर लिया बच्चों के.
मत करो ये सब उसके साथ. ये जुल्म मत करो उस बच्चे के ऊपर. माँ बाप का पेरेंट्स लो होती है बंगला साहिब तक. हेलो.
Reactions coming in there from the neighbors and from those who knew the mastermind, Vicky, who ran a very popular coaching center at Rajendra Nagar. In fact, some claim that he is being made a scapegoat and these are false accusations that are being leveled against him. But students are the ones who have been affected. 2.5 million students across the country who took the CBSE class 10th math and class 12th economics paper are now crying foul. They're agitated, they're upset. In fact, they are saying, why do they have to suffer for no fault of theirs? In fact, the HRD minister, who right now addressed a press conference to explain his pain and anguish, has said that he suspects this to be the handiwork of an organized crime, the leak of the class 10th math paper and the economics paper for class 12. Now, there is one person who is already in the custody of the Delhi Police Crime Branch, Vicky. He, in fact, has been named as the mastermind of the CBSE paper leak. But who is this person and what really is his role in this entire conspiracy? In fact, he is believed to be somebody who had a coaching center. He's believed to be someone who was teaching math and economics. And it's not just the role of this particular individual. The modus operandi, in fact, could be even more larger and complex. Therefore, the role of the printing press and the coaching center is also under investigation. Students, in fact, were called in from areas like Uttam Nagar and Rohini. And according to sources, each student was paid an amount of 10,000 to 15,000 rupees. Well, the question papers were also sent through WhatsApp, and that's exactly how the papers were leaked. Okay, I've just been told that we have a reaction. Students as well as parents from across the nation are furious. They are venting their anger on social media and on the streets of their respective cities. Let's listen in to a few reactions.
Yes, obviously. Who else? How did it leak? There has to be a loophole. Somebody from the organization is responsible for it. No doubt about it.
Very disappointing actually, because the children have been studying for the whole year. And it's for the kids it's really bad, because the feeling of the board exam getting over and all of a sudden you come to know that you have to appear for a test again. It's pretty disappointing.
I think the children have been working very hard the whole year and coping up with the syllabus that was for the whole year. And now they have to again restudy the whole maths portion, which is quite a bit.
जैसे अभी पेपर अगर अच्छा हुआ था तो नेक्स्ट वाला अच्छा होगा कि नहीं होगा, क्योंकि ये जो मार्क्स है हमारे को कॉलेज के लिए चाहिए. अब पता नहीं परसेंटेज अगर इससे डाउन चली गई तो.
The first time I've been going through this, so this is quite a challenge which I faced, because it's not generally which I've been going through for 9 years.
ऐसा नहीं है कि ये पहले लीक नहीं हुए हैं, पहले भी 2006 में भी हुए थे, उसके बाद भी हुए, और तब भी उन्होंने बोला था कि थोड़ा स्ट्रिक्ट करेंगे.
लीक जो है कि जहाँ पे लीक हुआ है उधर ही सबको सफ़र करना है, हम क्यों सफ़र करें? ये तो इनजस्टिस है ना. अब हम जो है हमारा जब पेपर ख़त्म हुआ हम एकदम टेंशन फ्री हो गए, कुछ अब कुछ करना नहीं है, तो एक एक्स्ट्रा बर्डन आ गया हमारे सर पे.
I think it's not fair for the students who have studied hard for it. But yeah, it's another opportunity for us to score well. So let's see what happens.
Yes, obviously. Who else? How did it leak? There has to be a loophole. Somebody from the organization is responsible for it. No doubt about it.
एक तो इतनी मेहनत करके उन्होंने वो चीज़ अपनी फिनिश की थी, अब फिर से उनको इसके कारण उसकी इंजीनियरिंग और फ्यूचर भी सफ़र कर सकता है. तो वी आर वेरी डिसअपॉइंटेड, और खासकर CBSE जैसी रेपुटेड और इतनी बड़ी संस्था, आई एम नेवर बिलीव इट.
पर प्रेशर तो आ ही गया है डेफिनेटली, क्योंकि उसको 2 एग्ज़ाम और देने हैं, अभी उसके 2 बाकी हैं और उसको फिर से देना पड़ेगा. तो ये एक तरीके से अच्छा भी है, बट बच्चों के लिए इससे प्रेशर बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है.
Well, the Congress has launched a scathing attack on the Modi government over the CBSE exam paper leak. Congress spokesperson Randeep Surjewala accused the government of turning a blind eye towards the education mafia flourishing under its nose. The party also demanded the resignation of the CBSE chairperson over the recent incident. Congress President Rahul Gandhi led the opposition charge by his jibe at the Prime Minister as well, facing flak from all corners. The HRD ministry has now assured strict action against the culprits. However, he did stop short of sacking the CBSE chairperson.
This was really an unfortunate incidence of paper leak which happened for 10th maths and economics, 12th economics. I can understand the pains and anguish and the frustration of students and parents as well, because we are one with them. We will not let go any culprit scot-free. The police is on the job. I am very sure that they will nab the culprit. Let me assure that we will improve further with the challenges posed by these culprits to the system. We will improve it and will make it foolproof. And to that end, we have decided the course of action.
सितंबर 8, 2017 को श्रीमती अनीता करवाल, जो मौजूदा CBSE की चेयरपर्सन हैं, जो मोदी जी के साथ गुजरात में कार्य करती थी, मोदी जी की चहेती हैं, उनको यहां पर 8 सितंबर 2017 को नियुक्त कर दिया गया. और वो जब पेपर लीक हो रहे हैं तो वो अहमदाबाद में माउंटेनियरिंग पर अपनी बुक को प्रमोट करने में लगी हैं. दुर्भाग्य की बात ये है.
All right, so a war of words there between the Congress and the BJP, because there was a report that a copy of the leaked class 10th maths paper was delivered to the office of the CBSE chairperson, and the accusation against the CBSE chairperson is that there was no action taken by the board to stop the leak from taking place. Anyway, the latest is that the main suspect has already been detained, the mastermind, who has been identified as Vicky. But it is the students who are really at the receiving end. Pooja Shali, in fact, joins us now. Pooja, what's the update? Because there were some reactions coming in from Rajendra Nagar, from where Vicky was arrested and taken into custody. The residents of the area are crying foul. They, in fact, are saying that he is being made a scapegoat and the conspiracy is far larger than what is being told or seen.
Well, Avantika, while of course a family member's defense is only understandable and expected, it is also interesting to note that now sources in the crime branch are adding that while they have also taken the owner into, they have detained him and they are questioning and cross-questioning him, it may just happen that it wasn't exactly the coaching center, but probably one or two of the students who knew somebody who had access to the paper getting leaked, and they had managed to reach to this coaching center owner. So there are a lot of dimensions coming in. It's only going to get very significant in the next few hours when they decide to at least take one lead to another. About 40 numbers have been submitted by the owner, by the students, and also by the CBSE. All these numbers are being scanned. This is what sources in Delhi police are telling India Today right now, and that over the next few hours they are going to ensure how one number led to another. And it may not be very difficult now, because they have managed to get a hang of where it all was proceeding. But the question again is, where did it begin with? At what point did the paper leak? Was it the first time? Had it been done before? Who somehow thought is going to get away with it? As you can see, some two or three of these students have started
the buck
to gather,
stops
and we are being
the
told
CBSE.
that more of
I mean,
them
they
are
have
also going
failed
to join it.
they have completely failed to ensure the sanctity of the exam process. The buck really stops at the CBSE, and the CBSE chairperson also should speak up and break her silence.
And that's where I must add here, Avantika, India Today has not only sent messages, we tried calling up the chairperson, the PRO. The PRO's phone was at least ringing until morning, even if there was no information coming in. But I just called her about half an hour back. The phone has gone switched. It's off now. We're trying to reach other officers as well. The CBSE office is today shut because it's a gazetted holiday today and tomorrow, then an extended weekend. So that means 4 days gone, no official reaction coming in, even if they are
just interrupt you there right now. I've just been told that Stephen Smith is addressing a press conference right now. Let's listen in.
What happened in Cape Town has already been laid out by Cricket Australia. Tonight, I want to make clear that as captain of the Australian cricket team, I take full responsibility. I made a serious error of judgment, and I now understand the consequences. It was a failure of leadership, of my leadership. I'll do everything I can to make up for my mistake and the damage it's caused. If any good can come of this, if it can be a lesson to others, then I hope I can be a force for change. I know I'll regret this for the rest of my life. I'm absolutely gutted. I hope in time I can earn back respect and forgiveness. I've been so privileged and honoured to represent my country and captain the Australian cricket team. Cricket is the greatest game in the world. It's been my life, and I hope it can be again. I'm sorry, and I'm absolutely devastated. I'll take some questions now.
Do you think you can give us a picture of what was going through your mind when you agreed to go through with this? Why'd you do it?
Look, for me, I think my week has has been around. You know, good people make mistakes, and I've made a big mistake by allowing this to happen. It was a huge error of judgment on my behalf, and I'm deeply sorry.
Steve, James Sutherland said that this was an isolated incident. Can you say, hand on heart, that under your captaincy, no member of the Australian team, to your knowledge, has ever previously tampered with the ball before Cape Town?
To my knowledge, this has never happened before. This is the first time I've seen this happen, and I can assure you it'll never be happening. It'll never be happening again.
Steve, what's your relationship at the moment with David Warner, and do you blame him for this?
No, I'm not. I don't blame anyone. As I said, I'm the captain of the Australian team. It's on my watch, and I take responsibility for the actions of what happened last Saturday in Cape Town.
Steve, I'm going to take a different tact on this. My name's Intern Pete from the Kyle and Jackie O show here, mate. I want to let you know I'm from the perspective from non-sports community and Australians. To see you upset tonight is very sad. We asked our listeners, as I said, we're not a sports show. We asked our listeners what we thought about this, and we have we opened up to them, and mate, I've got to tell you, hold your head high for a little bit for what you have done, because what's actually been worse is what Davina and Dean did on Married at First Sight. You know what I mean? Like, that's okay.
Thank you. Next question. I've got 3 sons of my own who eat, sleep and breathe cricket, and they absolutely cherish you. What do you have to say to the kids?
I'll say 2 things. Well, 3 things. Firstly, that I'm deeply sorry. I love the game of cricket. I love entertaining young kids. I love kids wanting to play the great game of cricket that I love. The 2 other things is, any time you think about making a questionable decision, think about who you're affecting. You're affecting your parents, and to see the way my old man's been and
thanks everybody.
And my mum, it hurts. And I can't remember what else. But it's, yeah, I just want to say I'm sorry, and for the pain that I've, I guess, brought to Australia and the fans and the public. It's devastating, and I'm truly sorry. Good evening, thanks for coming, appreciate it. To all of my teammates, to fans of cricket all over the world, and to all Australians who are disappointed and angry, I'm sorry. What happened in Cape Town has already been laid out by Cricket Australia. Tonight, I want to make clear that as captain of the Australian cricket team, I take full responsibility. I made a serious error of judgment, and I now understand the consequences. It was a failure of leadership, of my leadership. I'll do everything I can to make up for my mistake and the damage it's caused. If any good can come of this, if it can be a lesson to others, then I hope I can be a force for change. I know I'll regret this for the rest of my life. I'm absolutely gutted. I hope in time I can earn back respect and forgiveness. I've been so privileged and honoured to represent my country and captain the Australian cricket team. Cricket is the greatest game in the world. It's been my life, and I hope it can be again. I'm sorry and I'm absolutely devastated. We'll take some questions now.
Do you think you can give us a picture of what was going through your mind when you agreed to go through with this? Why'd you do it?
Look, for me, I think my week has been around, you know, good people make mistakes, and I've made a big mistake by allowing this to happen. It was a huge error of judgment on my behalf, and I'm deeply sorry.
Steve, James Sutherland said that this was an isolated incident. Can you say, hand on heart, that under your captaincy, no member of the Australian team, to your knowledge, has ever previously tampered with the ball before that?
To my knowledge, this has never happened before. This is the first time I've seen this happen, and I can assure you it'll never be happening. It'll never be happening again.
Steve, what's your...
Okay, let me go straight across now to India Today consulting editor Boria Majumdar. Boria, completely devastated and shattered, Stephen Smith addressing the press conference, breaking down. It was just not emotional or teary-eyed Stephen Smith. He just broke down. He just couldn't speak and take questions, and accepting full responsibility for his deeds.
Yeah, I've been saying this to you for the longest time, Avantika, that it's all about forgiveness and seeking forgiveness. Now, this is the best Stephen Smith can do. He can't go and undo the deed, but he can say he repents, he's remorseful, and he can ask forgiveness from the people of Australia and the people across the world.
How forgiving is the society? How forgiving are the Aussies? I mean, how easy it is for them to let bygones be bygones and move ahead?
No, it will happen. I mean, in Australia, one thing is a fact. If you're a tough person, Stephen Smith is, David Warner is, if you ask for forgiveness and you have a deed to prove that you are a champion in the past, then what will be important is how they conduct themselves for the next 6 months. Look, if you ask me, first, human shaming has to stop. Stephen Smith, David Warner, Cameron Bancroft are not convicts. They are not criminals. They have done a wrong deed. People in the past have done this. People in the past have gotten away with it. In this case, the thing became huge and they got punished, and rightly so. But that's where it should stop. They are not murderers, they are not match fixers, they are not criminals. So it is important that we, as responsible individuals across the world, treat them like that. We cannot keep shaming them. I can tell you this, David Warner is on a flight back to Sydney as you and I speak. He writes to me from the flight, or his people write to me from the flight, there are others with him, that his 2 daughters, one age 3, one age 2, are crying on the flight because they are apprehending that at Sydney airport there will be media, there will be people who might jump on him, and his daughters might have an impact. Now this cannot happen. Look at what happened with Stephen Smith. He's a broken man. Yesterday at Cape Town airport, he was booed.
Yes, he was.
On him. Now this kind of nonsense has to stop. They have made a mistake. Of course they have. They have let themselves down. They are repenting for it. But that's where the line should be drawn, Avantika. Human shaming has to stop, and stop immediately. Let them repent, let them prove it by their deeds over the next 12 months and make a comeback.
You know, that's true, Boria, but unfortunately and very tragically, we have with us Vikrant Gupta, editor, India Today Sports also. That's the price one pays for being so famous, being this icon, this extraordinary talent, the kind of criticism and backlash that comes your way. A very heartbroken Stephen Smith there.
And he's human. He's proved that he's human. You know, we were comparing him with Don Bradman. He's proved today that he's human. You know, one quote that stands out. He said, "Good people make mistakes. I made a mistake." He's not asking that the Australians should remove the ban. He's just saying, accept my apology. I think that's the least he could have done. That's the least David Warner could have done. They've done that. Bancroft also literally broke down. So I'm sure, Avantika, they feel the pinch. They also understand that they've let their own team down, their family down, and the nation down. I think the most critical thing is that they let the game of cricket down. And they're very clear about that. I think they're apologizing well and truly.
Rahul Rawat is also with me. Rahul, I'm just curious, all of the 3 players are expressing regret and remorse now through various channels, whether it's through the media or social media. What is the kind of response coming in from people to their apologies?
Well, Avantika, there are two aspects to it. There's a public outrage. The people, the general public who look up to these players. Of course, they are disappointed, and they've been wanting this ban that has been imposed on all three players. And the cricketers, perhaps they know the game better than the general public, and they know they have criticized what these players have done, but they are also saying that the ban imposed on all these three players is a bit too harsh. 12 months ban, in a career of any athlete is perhaps takes a lot out of them.
Boria, and that's exactly why I had been asking you yesterday, that was the penalty a harsh one or lenient one? Was this expected, a 12-month ban for both those players and a 9-month ban for Bancroft?
Firstly, let me say, Vikrant put it beautifully. I mean, he summed it up quite nicely there, saying all they can do is apologize. But that's exactly the sentiment. I mean, secondly, you said, 12 months. They actually did not react to ball tampering. Cricket Australia did not react to ball tampering. They reacted to Australian national identity being challenged in a particular manner, the baggy green or the cult of the baggy green being challenged in a particular manner or being let down in a particular manner by the captain and the vice captain. So they were reacting to that. They were reacting to the spirit, the sentiment, the cult, the tradition that Australia has built over the years. So that's why this punishment. Harsh or not harsh is a different or a subjective thing. I don't want to get into that. That's done and dusted. But what is important for me is, yes, they are serving the ban. Yes, they are being punished. But post that, they also need to be forgiven. In my book, they have done a mistake. They are repenting for it. We need to move on. They are human beings. Every human being, you, me, Vikrant, Rahul, all of us on this broadcast, we make mistakes. We are not icons of this level, so there is no media player like this. But everybody makes mistakes, and we are forgiven. No human being is infallible, and we have to understand that, appreciate that. Stephen Smith has a family. David Warner has 2 kids, 2 girls, one 3 years
very
old,
young
one 2
kids.
years old. This cannot happen. This public shaming, ridicule has to stop.
Madan Lal is also joining us right now on the broadcast. Madan, we just heard from Stephen Smith. We've been reading the apology of David Warner via social media. He was obviously extremely disturbed, very shattered, and broke down on the press conference. And it was a very brief, very crisp press conference where he took full responsibility for the ball tampering episode. Your thoughts, your reactions?
I think, he knows that he has let down the country and he has let down the cricket, so that's why I think he's apologizing. And I think, I still believe the plenty is, the 1-year ban is too harsh. I thought, they might be ban him for 4 to 5 matches, but he knows inside that, I have done wrong, so that's why they are coming out. And, these things happens, Steve Smith or Warner. They were playing good cricket, They doesn't have to do all this sort of thing. But still, in this day and age where the 50 cameras are on the ground, they still, if they are doing it, there's something wrong in the brain, fade, whatever you can say, all these things. And I cannot imagine they thought about this and they were doing it. But it amazes me, it amazes me, why they have done it.
That's actually a very pertinent point you raise. And Vikrant, I want to bring you in here, that what really gets to a player? What happens in a player's mind of that stature? It can't be the pressure that gets to you for you to resort to such means.
Also the context of the series. It was a tour to hell for Australia. They went to South Africa just after the Indians had beaten South Africa. So you were assuming that Australia will beat South Africa. They started well. There were controversies. And, the pressure was there. Avantika, every team wants to win. We say today that the Australians sledge a lot. They're very aggressive. They're very abusive. All right. Even India wants to win. We do it our way. They do it their way. But the fact is that they didn't realize that they were doing a very stupid thing. As I said, every team does ball tampering.
But at the cost of losing your career, losing everything that you had worked out for?
Every team does ball tampering. There are semi-legal ways to do it. There are illegal ways to do it. Bancroft maybe was stupid. He was naive. He was caught. That's it. And I think this story is beyond cricket now. It's not Cricket Australia which took the action. It is the Australian government which forced their sporting heroes to be punished because they brought defame to the country. One more quote, and I'm actually very touched with the press conference and the composure at the same time that Steve Smith had during the press conference. He says, I know I'll regret this for the rest of my life. I'm absolutely gutted. I hope in time I can earn back respect and forgiveness. You know, the end will justify the means. Even if the ban was harsh, you know, there will be a debate if it ought to be of 6 months or 12 months. The fact is that the message has gone out. And the message hasn't gone out just from Cricket Australia's side. It's not the ban which has sent the message out. It is Steve Smith, it is David Warner, it is Bancroft, the apology. This message will have a better and, you know, maybe the impact will be greater in Australia, in the sporting system, in the cricket world.
Yes.
People will now understand.
Yes. You know, that is actually something you just
you
read
see
my
him
mind.
cry,
I was just
you
thinking.
see him cry.
Yes.
This is Steve Smith, the best batsman in the world.
True.
His average after Don Bradman is the second best. He's broken down. He's shattered. He wants to earn his respect back. And that is what cricket is all about.
But that's a very important point that you make here. And Rahul, you know, that's something that I was also thinking about, the messaging. The messaging that has been sent out by Cricket Australia to not just their nation and their team, but across the globe, across to all cricketing nations and all their respective boards as well and their teams.
Well, I don't know if the ball tampering will stop because as Vikrant also mentioned a little while earlier, you know, it is one thing that happens and every team does tamper with the ball. It is just that they've been caught, and most of the times whenever a player is charged for ball tampering, he is either caught on camera or he is caught by the umpire. It is just that the Australian government through Cricket Australia has taken it a bit too far for themselves. Perhaps, you know, have thrown the careers of two of their best batsmen in jeopardy. And, you know, I don't know if ball tampering will stop or not. It is just that people will be more careful. As what the report suggests, that, you know, David Warner was the chief instigator, was the conspirator. But there have been, ball tampering has been happening for last 40 decades, you know, starting from early 80s. And I wonder if this will stop, even though, you know, for Australia, they've sent out a message loud and clear, and the Australian players for sure will be extra careful, or perhaps they can, you know, clearly get rid of ball tampering from here on.
True, and Boria, you know, a lot of maturity displayed by Stephen Smith, who's actually also very young, and he's the captain of the Australian team. You know, just staying away from taking names, not naming the key conspirators or the architect behind the entire conspiracy, and just taking full responsibility, because he indeed is the leader of the team and is responsible for all the actions that are taken.
That's the best he can do. That's the best David Warner can do. That's the best Stephen Smith can do. And they've done that. That's what I'm constantly telling you. You asked Vikrant this very important question, that why do champions do this? Diego Maradona did cocaine. Marianne Jones, the world's best sprinter, did drugs. Terry Johnson did drugs. Lawrence Griffith Joyner did drugs. Lance Armstrong did drugs. He was the greatest athlete in the world at one point in time. Why do people do this? Everyone has done it. There are champion after champion after champion. I can reel off from multiple sports to you, Avantika, who has done
I can think of one who hasn't, Sachin Tendulkar, who even tweeted. You've got to give credit to, you know, such stars, such stalwarts, such icons, Boria, who despite pressure, despite their lowest, still rise like a phoenix.
And there was no need to do that for somebody like Tendulkar and the other icons that we have. They've never done it. I mean, you know, again, your question and Rahul Rawat's response, there has to be a starting point, Avantika. Match fixing, the late 90s and 2000 was the starting point. Ever since, I'm sure there would be something happening around the world, mysterious, but it is not so brazen now. So ball tampering maybe will continue to happen in a lesser form, in a semi-legal form. You know, there are legal ways to tamper with the ball or to alter the condition of the ball. It's just that you can't use any foreign object. Maybe situation will change, but I think there will be a change in Australian cricket now, Avantika, and that will also change the way world cricket is played now.
Right. We also have with us on the broadcast a senior journalist, Catherine McGreffer, who's joining us right now. Catherine, good afternoon. We just heard the press conference of Stephen Smith, who was understandably quite devastated, and he broke down, taking full responsibility for the actions of the Australian team. Your thoughts, your reactions while you were listening into the apologies of all of the three accused Australian players?
Well, I guess it's still taking some time to process. I wasn't at all surprised to see how emotional Stephen Smith was. It's easy to forget in this kind of media frenzy around the Australian team that these are actually very young men. He's a young guy. He's had the scrutiny of global cricket community and the anger of his nation, and it must have been very traumatic for him. A week ago, this young man was the hero of the nation, captain of Australia.
True.
He's now been stripped of his captaincy. Many of his financial sponsors have deserted him, and I suspect he's very close to the edge emotionally. So it gave me no joy to see him as distressed as he was. I suspected after Darren Lehman had spoken and the Australian Cricketers Association, which acts as a kind of trade union for the players, all of them had been mentioning their mental health concerns about the players involved in this scandal, and I rather suspect that they are under enormous emotional pressure. So I feel for Steve Smith, but again, that is not to in any way obviate the fact that he is culpable, and he's conceded that he's culpable for what is a very egregious act.
Which is why, do you think, he's paying such a heavy price of the incident that occurred? Because there are also some views who feel that the penalty was perhaps a little too harsh to the three of them who have, conceded to masterminding the ball-tampering incident.
Yeah. I think his position as captain was untenable immediately. I think he should have been stripped of the captaincy. I also think suspending all of the players for the remainder of the series would have been appropriate, and perhaps some form of suspension. I came in on the tail end of one of your other guests' comments about match fixing, and I tend to agree. I think when you look at the price paid for match fixing by, say, Muhammad Amir, young lad who was not exonerated, he went to jail, but after serving a ban from the game was actually rehabilitated. Now, spot fixing is vastly more serious than ball tampering. So I think these guys have paid a harsh price, and in my estimation, that is largely because of the incompetent performance of Cricket Australia when this story broke. I believe the response of the senior management of Cricket Australia was insipid, it lacked clarity, and it lacked leadership. Had they removed Smith and Warner as captain and vice-captain as soon as the story broke and demanded they return to Australia for disciplinary action, I suspect they wouldn't have needed to give them a year out of the game. I suspect quick action would have actually reduced the severity of the penalty.
Okay.
But because of their own mismanagement, Cricket Australia are now catching up with public opinion, and the public are angry. So each time this story escalates, Cricket Australia matched the mood of the public, and I think had they acted promptly, they would have been able to show a little more leniency to the players.
That's a very interesting point that you just made there, Catherine, and thanks so much for joining us. Vikrant and Rahul, I request the two of you to kindly stay on the broadcast. We have to slip into a very short break, but we'll try and get more reactions on the emotional outburst of the former Australian captain Stephen Smith, who a short while ago addressed a press conference, expressed his regrets, taking full responsibility of the ball-tampering incident. Welcome back. Just a short while back, the disgraced and distraught Australian captain Stephen Smith, who's now been banned from playing for 12 months, addressed a press conference, and he was visibly shaken, and he took full responsibility of the incident. We're going to play out the entire press conference. This is what Stephen Smith had to say.
Think about who you're affecting your parents, and to see the way my old man's been. And
so thanks everybody.
And my mum, it hurts. And I can't remember what else. But it's, yeah, I just want to say I'm sorry and for the pain that I've, I guess, brought to Australia and the fans and the public. It's devastating, and I'm truly sorry.
Rahul Rawat and editor India Today Sports Vikrant Gupta is with me right now. And Vikrant, what a press conference. I mean, there was just so many tears of visibly shaken Stephen Smith.
15-20 minutes of foolishness and the disgrace. But look at him, you know, as I said, he's human. His father was there. And he was choking because he said he brought pain to the family and to the old man.
True.
I think we've got to forgive him. And not just us, the Australians will, with the passage of time. Saurav Ganguly was on India Today yesterday, Avantika, and he did say that it's 1 year now. You never know. It could even be reduced. It's happened before.
But don't they have a chance to appeal against the ban?
They have, but they're already apologizing.
True.
Somebody who's apologizing will never contest the charges.
That's true.
Even though
the
Australian Cricketers Association, which represents the players, they've already done that. They've challenged. They are saying that the ban is unfair, and they've listed a few points where they've said that the legal route wasn't adopted. You know, again, this is beyond cricket. You just look at the laws of the game. This ban would never stand. But at the same time, it's the culture, the society, and Australia which is at stake. And by saying these words that he spoke or Warner tweeted, the message will go out. Avantika, the message will go out. I'm sure there could be some reconsideration. Maybe now, maybe not now, maybe at a later stage. Maybe there could be a public outcry once again, which has forced the ban now, which may again force them to reduce it. Maybe reduce it.
Absolutely. And you know, Rahul, that perhaps...
They had to be punished. Because they've been punished, that is why they're repenting now. It's just that the punishment's a little harsh.
And you know, what one will have to see very closely now and observe, Rahul, in Australia is how the media, how the people react to these apologies. Stephen Smith, the former captain of the Australian cricket, you know, his epic fall from grace and him breaking down completely shattered and devastated during that press conference. And then you have the apologies by David Warner, who's being accompanied by his very young family. It is really up to Cricket Australia, the board, the management, the officials and the people and the nation to forgive their 3 Australian players.
Well, I think gradually with time people will mellow down and the anger that they have will subside with time. You know, see, Australia is a sporting nation. In a week's time from now, they'll have the Commonwealth Games. You know, they do not accept things like these. You know, perhaps doping. Cheating, ball tampering, which was caught on camera. The players were caught red-handed. It is also about imaging, perception, how the world will look at them. They don't want themselves to be called as cheaters. You know, they are a sporting nation. They do really well in multidisciplinary events like Olympics, cricket, of course. They play football also. So they have a lot of sports. They thrive on their sporting culture. And as far as earlier in the day you asked me about the message, I think it's a big slap in the face of ICC also, by the Australian government and also by Cricket Australia. They are saying that look, your rules, your laws and the penalties are not good enough. This is what we have done and this is what we'll do. So perhaps maybe ICC is wrong, or maybe Cricket Australia or the government is wrong. Perhaps they'll have to find a way that is intermediate to both. Maybe ICC also needs to look into their laws, their rules and penalties imposed that they've.
But fact is, Avantika, they had to be reined in. To be honest, the Australians had to be reined in. Their behavior over the last 10 odd years wasn't in the best of spirit. In cricket you've got the laws and there's spirit of the game. Cricket is perhaps the only game where we talk about the spirit of the game. It's not just the laws. When the underarm bowling incident happened in 1981, it was within the laws of the game, but it was against the spirit of the game. They had to be reined in, but I think the change is already happening. The apologies that have come now, and I think Darren Lehman's press conference yesterday was very important. He said, and Darren Lehman is supposed to be the top dog to be very honest. He's the one who's now accused of spreading toxic culture within the dressing room. He said we ought to go the New Zealand way, which is very rare for an Australian to say that we ought to behave like the Kiwis. Because the Kiwis are supposed to be great sportsmen. They fight hard, but they play in the right spirit. And for an Australian coach to say that they ought to play like the New Zealanders, I think it was a big statement.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Kiwis, Kane Williamson, the captain of Sunrisers Hyderabad.
I think we were discussing yesterday. Shikhar Dhawan's lack of captaincy perhaps has gone against him.
Okay.
No doubt he is the biggest crowd puller, but I think Kane Williamson, also because he leads New Zealand, is a very cool customer. Just that his place wasn't very sure. Now with Warner not playing, Williamson will open and he'll play all the games.
All right.
So that's the reason perhaps.
Right. Vikrant and Rahul,
we won't
thank
have
you.
Art Hindustani.
Both.
We'll have just 7
we have
as the captains.
Right, Vikrant and Rahul, thank you both for joining us. We really are running out of time. I have to take a very short break. Up next.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.